Why your purpose is not a goal. Often when we think about our purpose, well, particularly a lot of the work that I do, a lot of people really want to know what their purpose is. And sometimes they define it as something that is a certain role. And of course, part of your purpose can be a particular role, and part of your mission can involve, being, a part of a role. And, I always teach a lot of things through the work of archetypes, because archetypes are really easy for people to understand. And archetypes help kind of reinforce certain aspects of ourselves that are innately there and help us kind of almost categorize it in a way. And we all know that categories can be really helpful at times, and sometimes they can limit us, they can keep us stuck. The same with a goal. Often when we think of a goal, we think of a goal as, and once we've achieved a goal and we set that goal, that's us. We've attained what we want to attain. The problem of that is when we think of purpose and we think of a mission in the world and life, we can think, well, once we have reached a specific goal that we had in our mind, well, that's us attained something. But I believe that purpose is kind of like an ongoing thing. It's a thing that evolves and grows. And in many ways, our purpose is the way we live our lives. If you think about someone truly living their purpose, it's very easy. They're actually showing up and being themselves and doing what really feels easy to do. Now, does that mean that's their whole purpose? Of course not. There's different layers to it. The problem is that many people are so focused on their purpose as an end result and almost a goal. Trying to get to that goal, they go off purpose. I'll give you some examples. Sometimes people would love to create maybe a retreat or a spa or this type of large business. But often they get so focused on the end result, that end picture, and that is what they want to do, that they can do all sorts of things and get out of alignment with what is part of their purpose right now by just trying to achieve everything that's going to take them there. And one example is when people are natural healers or therapists and really naturally good at certain things, but they start doing all sorts of things, maybe just to get the money, or maybe just to, feel as if they can move forward to that next step. Now, this is not about, I've been there when I've took other types of work to create something that I wanted to create. That's, all these things are fine, but the thing is, if you keep doing work and doing things that are so out of alignment with yourself, with your ethics and values, and if you really keep going off and just doing anything for example, for a monetary aspect, or you do things because you think it's the only way, you can start going off target. Now, don't get me wrong, one of the things that I have talked about the last 5 and 6 years, and I think this is really important, is that I felt a lot of healers, particularly in what we call, I know a lot of people don't use the word light workers. I didn't used to use it, but I use it just to try and term people who are more aware of some of the changes and things that we have to make in the world, and we know that we have to do the inner work. It's not just about light work, we have to do the shadow work as well, but that we are here to create a new earth, to change things, right? And that's part of what a lot of us are here to do. We could see what was happening, we could see what was coming. And one of the aspects of that, I really felt that a lot of people who are more awake, who are more conscious and have particularly done a lot of inner work in themselves and understand this, they would be needed in more what we call normal jobs, everyday jobs. And they would be a lot of people taking on other jobs, maybe part-time, full-time, for a short period, to bring their energy and to bring that imprint of, hope and light and different perspectives and support into all sorts of jobs around the world. And I still believe that. I believe that a lot of people really needed to embed their way into all aspects of society to help create the shifts. And there's already people doing these jobs that are light workers, they might not call themselves. And sometimes even the word light workers is very egoic because it's almost like we're special and everyone's not, and that's not what it's about at all. Now, there is that aspect, but if you want to find out what your purpose is, and that's the approach, but you're only doing it as just to make life easy and just so that you can fulfill it in a way from an egoic perspective, you're losing the opportunity to really get in alignment in every day with everything that we do. And also, you are missing out some of the golden opportunities for all sorts of things that can come up. Because often when we set goals, we're setting goals from the egoic mind. And we're not co-creating the universe, we're not co-creating with God, we're not co-creating with what is in here. We're co-creating, or we're not really we're just trying to set something up because that's the ego wants to create that. When you work in alignment and you're more intention, you can set intentions, but when you can allow things to be more moldable and flow and allow things to unfold more, there is far more richness and depth, and you can start, by each day, you can start to realise where you're getting guided towards, right? And some of that, yes, you can be guided towards more of that intention that you had. But you're also opening yourself to all sorts of other opportunities and other things that can even be bigger or better or bring more than that intention. And we're not missing the point because it's like more on purpose. When we're on purpose, we're in alignment with self. We're in alignment with what we're absolutely amazingly great at, things that we take for granted because it becomes very easy. Now, that doesn't mean that every aspect of your purpose is easy. There's many challenges in your life. There's lots of what I call initiations. A lot of things can happen in your life that are extremely challenging and extremely difficult. And many of these things are actually part of your purpose because out of those challenges, lots of wisdom happens and lots of insights and lots of aha moments. And also it can shift your path. You can meet all sorts of other people. You can look at the world differently. You can look at your own circumstances differently. You can look at all sorts of things and value life differently and value different things differently. Now, I'll give you an example. One of the things that a lot of people used to say to me was part of my purpose, and kept saying, well, this is what you should be doing, as if they knew what my purpose was, and they would tell me, you should be doing this work. And I remember when I was really young and I got diagnosed with ME. And to be quite honest, it wasn't just ME that my diagnosis was. I had lots of other rare challenges, and a lot of people, because I tend to really look and do a lot of research, I was one of these people. Nowadays, doctors frown on it, but I used to be one of these people that I would bring in a lot of medical research papers. Now, the reason I did do that, I had a really rare condition that created all sorts of other rare conditions, and there was not really any specialists in the UK to do with this. So they didn't really have the time, they didn't have the knowledge, and I, at one point, had threatened eye loss, and nobody could really give me much advice, and they didn't have much hope at the beginning. They had, so I'm one of those people that always think there's a solution to everything, or they can, try to think like that way, and always think, right, okay, I like to be proactive and say, right, okay, what can I do? And that helped me look at a lot of my health stuff. So a lot of people would ask me lots of questions about holistic and natural, because I seem to be a book of encyclopedia. I didn't even think about it. When I dive into things, I dive deep into a lot of things. Well, I did then. Probably there's some things I don't do as much now. A lot of things I wouldn't even remember now that I learned, because there was so much information. But one of the things that I think in relation to that was that I saw early on how people were looking at things that they thought they weren't, but they were looking at it at surface level, because in their opinion, they thought that those challenges were my biggest challenges, and actually there was far more. And there was other things that I knew as I went along my path were part of my purpose. And one of that was actually teaching people to think out the box and to look at the holistic perspective, because a lot of my challenges weren't just one situation. There was all different factors to play. And for example, we look in the healing industry and in the spiritual sector, there's a lot of people will say, well, that it's to do with this wounding or this trauma or this ancestral thing or this belief and whatever. But every school of thought have all different opinions on these things. And believe me, I've went down the rabbit hole with lots of things, and lots of things that were supposed to work didn't really work. And even recently, I've had another situation that revealed something else that was extremely eye-opening for me in relation to my health, that would actually again contradict a lot of things that were said to me. And one of those things was, other than I found out C1 and C2 was out and causing lots of problems to the brainstem, I found a large bone growing from the mandible down into the neck, which has been causing choking, which would explain the horrendous ear pain that I've had for the last 12 years and all sorts of things. And I'll be honest, I never expected a large bone. I'd felt a lot of what I thought was, I had sepsis and I had a cut, and I thought, when I was I think they use it for draining, and I just presumed it was actually a tissue, but I couldn't explain why this sharp pain, and there was lots of experiences, and I was always holding my jaw at night when I was sleeping, and I thought it was to do with something else. And I'll be honest, there was things that I always sensed the back of my skull and my head there was something, but I did not imagine there was a large bone growing out there, and at all sorts of calcifications. And one of the things with this condition is that it presses on the main it can press on the vagus nerve, it can press on all sorts of nerves in the body and main arteries, which would explain some of the more serious challenges I had. Now, sometimes I went through my life and went, why, we've all done it, why me? And then the next day I picked myself up and say, right, okay, what can I do with this? What have I teach and learn from this? And sometimes, there's things that we have to learn at a deeper level. But there's also, this has also been a big lesson for a lot of people, sometimes around about me, or people that you come like medically or even healers and things like that. Because again, lots of the symptoms I've had, there's a lot of time people will say it is only because of this. But when you have something that challenges the status quo, that's another learning experience. And most of us have all had experiences in our life that gives a different perspective, that challenges the status quo, that makes us look at situations from another angle. Yeah? And that is often part of also people's purpose, the actual experiences. Because one of the things that I learned when I teach a lot of my students this is, you can often help a lot of people where they've been in their journey, and that can mean different layers. I can often help a lot of healers and therapists with challenges that I've had along the way, trying to learn things, trying to do things in my business, because I've been there, I've done it, I've understood the challenges. And it's the same as you. And, you know, a lot of people that are helping people with certain health challenges, the best ones are the people who have actually experienced it. People that don't can say lots of stupid things, can make lots of presumptions and misunderstandings and misconceptions. Now, one of the things that, you know, I always see is, you know, you could say I'm long in the tooth because I'm now 56 and I've been going down the holistic field for very, very early on. You know, you're talking about 20, 21, even about 19. I was interested, but I started studying really more when I was 21, you know, different things. And one of the things that I know is that you can meet a lot of people, really big-hearted people, and people that genuinely care and want to help. But again, they can have a lot of misconceptions until something happens to them and they have a certain experience and think, oh my God, I didn't understand how hard it was. And that can be something like grief. It can be mental health. It can be pain. It can be certain types of health challenges. And that's why when people have certain experiences, they have a certain level of insight, compassion, understanding, and an ability to see it. And also, in many ways, there can be a level of objectivity. Obviously, there can be also, you know, attachment to the pain or the suffering or the things that I've went through. But we can look at things from a different perspective. Sometimes people have opinions about certain things that they have never fully understood or ever experienced because they're coming from a place of bias and they're coming from a place of lack of actual insight and lack of experience. So part of your purpose is living a certain experience, is living your life, is living in alignment with your path, with your gifts, with your skills, with experience. And even if you believe that your role, particular job, has always been part of your purpose, when that job ends, your purpose in life does not end. Your mission on earth doesn't end, because every day there's layers to our purpose. It could be that smile, that tenderness, that ability just to see something from a different perspective and share that. So remember, your purpose is not the goal. Your purpose is in alignment with who you are. And yes, your purpose, you can align, you may have a vision, a dream, something that you know is part of your purpose, and you can move towards that. But don't move that, you know, don't move towards that dream, that vision, that intention out of alignment. Check in every day and throughout your day. Am I moving in alignment? Am I present? Am I fully in alignment? Or am I, you know, compromising myself? Am I pulling myself into fear, survival? Am I getting out of alignment? Now, if this is an area that you need maybe support or help, or you would just love to be part of more community, particularly if you're a solo business owner, check out the Soul Hub. The Soul Hub is in many ways a new platform, and we have monthly brainstorming and co-creation sessions. Also each month I do a kind of extra offering which helps you in some aspect of your business and marketing, and in January 2026 we'll be offering basically a Pinterest, a week of Pinterest, teaching you how to use Pinterest inside the Soul Hub community. And the reason why I'm doing that is Pinterest is such an underused platform, but it's very powerful to boost your SEO, and it can be very helpful for a lot of creative entrepreneurs. Anyone has, you can use it, you can share a lot of things, but particularly if you're blogs or a website, or even if you're a lot of videos. And I believe that Pinterest can really help a lot of business owners that don't want to be, they're sick and tired of wasting lots of time and energy on other platforms that they create things and then it disappears within a couple of days and we'll still be seen again. So if that's something you're interested in joining us, also within that, I also have the Heart Hub. You can join the Heart Hub on your own. It's a low cost, basically access to lots of meditations, spiritual development courses, and there's a monthly and a yearly. When you take the yearly, you get a lot of bonuses and lots of extra things. And basically we have twice a month, my friend David Bourne's going to be offering, he's going to do two distant healing. I will be doing some later on. At the moment I just have a lot of challenges with my throat to do with this bone, so at the moment David's going to be doing most of that, and he's going to be doing twice a month short healing meditations, and each week myself and David will be sending out remote healing. So any of you would like to put your name down, all you need to do is you get into the Heart Hub community, and each week you place your name on a certain post that we have for you, and you can ask for healing to be sent to you, your family, your friends. So that is also something that we have, and we're going to be doing a lot of different things in the Heart Hub. But this is us just getting it really properly launched, and we're just doing a wee bit of a clean up for January, but we want to start it afresh. It's a great opportunity to join before the prices go up. It's going to be going up after Christmas, so it's a great opportunity to get in and to be part of something new. I have a lot of different plans for that, but like everything, baby steps. We have to start at the foundations. And, you know, one of the things that I've always invested highly in my own work, because I know how important it is for us to show up and be the best. And I've tried to share a lot of things that I think are really, really important in the hub. Things to help you build your intuition, guidance, a lot of self-care things that will help you relax, get more spiritually and soul aligned, and to empower you more to deal with the challenges that we're dealing in life right now. So many of you are here to be part of that change. We need to look after ourselves. We need to take care of ourselves, and we also need community. So one of the biggest things I'm going to be trying to build is the community aspect. At the moment, it's just very small, and we're just trying to we've been just trying to sort some things out in the background, but most of that has got sorted. So you're going to see a lot of changes and a lot more community in the new year. And as I said, join now. You get it at a great deal, and you get access to all these wonderful offerings. If I don't speak to you before Christmas, and maybe have a blessed Christmas, and remember, just by being you, by sharing your natural gifts, things that you find really easy to do, you are on purpose. It's not about even the job that you do, the business that you do. Being you and sharing your strengths and gifts is loving your purpose. Bye-bye.